Brad sees a red door and he wants it painted black. You like my formal attire for this rare Meow Man appearance from the red couch? Did you guys miss the Meow Man? Does absence make the heart grow fond, or is it out of sight? What is it? Out of mind, out of sight, out of sight, out of mind. That's for you, Ravisi. Lenny's in a better place. I'm envious. We should all strive for paradise. I just shaved it tonight. How do I look? It's 80 degrees today. Figure it's a kickoff spring with a new look. The Meow Man returneth like a thief in the night. Who and what is a Jason Blaha? Better than I deserve, William Henderson. How are you? Eddie Steady. I like the infrequency of him. It keeps it fresh. Not bad for a small woman, right, Meatball? Proper skinhead look. Wasn't Burger's frame of mind. It was Arby's roast beefs. About a dozen of them. We left them like 2 or 3 and threw all the wrappers in there. But Larry's a good sport. He got a kick out of it. It's me, pencil neck atrophying, unfortunately. Sometimes I see clips of Genova. Is he still active, or are they old clips? I can't even tell anymore. Look at that, though. Not bad. 47 years young. Way to go, Danny. How's the wifey? How was Portugal? Some of the most delicious food I ever had was in Rhode Island. It was Portuguese cuisine. Mosquito bites, that's what they look like. My brother in middle school and high school, when the little gals were developing, he goes, "Look at the little ant bites, Andrew." How's my lighting? Are the women still traditional in Portugal, Danny, or are they like the Americani women? Didn't Leo Longevity visit Portugal before he passed away? About a year or two before. I remember he went to Portugal. He said there was like a heavy Arabic influence there. I had some paella, some I think pork tenderloin was really good fish. Fresh fish in Lisbon. Yeah, I miss Lenny. Lenny and my mom, I think about them every day. They blow up my phone. Now the text messages are silent unless Pomp sends me something. No, I think the chapter's closed on Lenny Barton's. Never heard back from the brother. I don't know what happened to the cat. So the window's closed on that. I'm dressed up. I was going to go bare chested, but I think I'll put on some formal. The Guinea Gangster, the Dago tee. Every time I come on here for one of these lives, YouTube changes up the whole format and all the things I got to fill out before I come on here. Nothing new on Lenny, unfortunately. But like they say about Bob Uecker, the famous Milwaukee Brewers radio announcer, TV and radio, Legends never die. Big Lenny will never die because he's a legend. Ryan Agar. Can't complain. Better than I deserve, my friend. How are you? That's right, Rhubarb. By grace through faith, Lenny was saved. That's how we all get saved, and we'll see him again. No, not training in the layer so much anymore. Stefan's been training with a guy at a gym. It helps him. He's got a good training partner. They push each other. They train at night, and I work nights. So once in a while, I'll go there and train. Like he works from home, he'll let me train there. But as far I had a good run there, a couple of years straight. I don't know if there was an autopsy on Lenny. I never got the official cause of death. I was hoping one of the maniac internet sleuths would have found something by now and dug around on the internet and got some info, some intel. Oh, somebody posted his death certificate in the Reddit. What did it say, Ski Mask? We are in end times without a shadow of a doubt. Don't get, like I said last time, don't get fooled because Trump's in there. We're inches away from the goal line. Remember, God's timing is not ours. It's 1,000 years as to a day to God. Yeah, I just got to take a lot of meds, Ryan. Just preventative meds, 2 cholesterol meds, a blood thinner, plus a baby aspirin, blood pressure meds, and just do what I can, training and exercise. Try to watch what I eat 90% of the time. Yeah, Lenny was always charismatic, Danny. But we didn't even know what YouTube was when we met in 1998, 99. It wasn't around, We were lucky if somebody had a camcorder, like the guy that was kind enough to record my bench video. But I always knew, I was like, I'll never meet anybody like this guy again. But I'm glad the world got to see him. Where's the gals? You tell me, macho freak. Which foreign country should I go to? Certainly not here. Is Elon Musk evil? I don't know. I'm not sure what to make of the guy. He's not a Christian. He may, provide the means or create something along the lines of AI that gets out of control and not even he can control it, or all the smartest people in the world, the things just go rogue. Vitor Caires, welcome. No, I don't speak to any of the misfits other than, Pomps isn't a misfit, but I don't talk to Brad or Andrew. That's it, really. Jay, I haven't spoken to him in years. No, I don't see any tan 1010s here. It's still it's an overgrowing, overpopulating small town, Bartons. Yeah, there's probably a lot of conservative women, but they're, at the end of the day, they're just like the ones in the churches. They want the things the secular lost women want. It's corroded their minds, materialistic. Male prick is homeless. Blessed heart. Am I on TRT? No. I'm contemplating it, though. Training hasn't been going well. I feel like I'm starting to slow down finally. So it's a possibility. Maybe, look at it early next year. 650, the bench. Every time I bench and see how weak I am nowadays, it boggles my mind how I did that. Whether I was on gear or not, I'm still the same person. But I felt, astonishingly light that day. I never attempted it before prior to doing that. Weather's beautiful the last 2 days. I was off from work, lifted, went outside for about an hour, ate. Perfect weather. A little, well, you could say warm for this time of year, but winter's officially over. Haven't spoken to Big Lou other than when I texted him to let him know Lenny had passed back in October. Yeah, I like Mike Menser style training. I couldn't even do 405 now, blessed heart. I'm weak as a kitten. My shoulders are trashed. My knee, I just had an MRI yesterday to see if I had another meniscus tear. No, I never did 650 again after that bench meet. I regret. It's one of the few regrets I have is in terms of my training is I didn't know how strong I could be or how strong I was at the time. Really, I could have got 700 unless I had an injury. There was no question about it. Things are rough in Canada. Why? Because of the tariffs and Trump's slapping. Is it still cold up there in Canada? No, I never tried Portuguese custard tarts. Not a big dessert guy, but I do like custard type desserts if I'm going to have one. Lenny and Rob got kicked out of heaven after being too ooey and gooey. I don't really practice Lent. But I have to say, I've only viewed porn twice in the last 8 weeks. Tips for bad shoulders? I don't know. You could go to Squat University on YouTube and Instagram. He has a lot of stuff with bands. That LYTP exercise you can look up. I have a thing called a shoulder horn where it locks your arms into place and you do external rotation. That's all I know. Like I have the Beastie balls. It's a little massage ball. Roll on those. I don't think I could have gone pro bodybuilder. My waist is too big. Unless I can get the sweep of my legs up. I never really had shredded glutes. I think that's more a genetic thing. Upper body was there. Yeah, I should have stuck with the benching a little longer, like I said. Lenny could have been a pro wrestler for sure. He had the gimmick. He could have a good gimmick. He could work the mic. He had the size. Will Prince ever release the Lenny porn from Vegas? I didn't know he had it. He wasn't there. It was Brad. Nah, I don't think he will at this point. Bard, rent-to-own girlfriends' wives. Communist hell of Canada, yeah. Yeah, I couldn't live there. I wonder how Aladdin's doing if he's still in Toronto. No, I don't think I'll ever get married and have kids. As the days go on, the slim to none likelihood of that gets tinier and tinier, if that's possible. What age did my strength start to decrease? Early 40s, and now it's like steadily dropping here in the mid 40s, and I haven't taken drugs since 2019. So, yeah. 30s, mid 30s, late 30s, natural. When I was off stuff for a number of years, I was still relatively strong, but now it's like starting to day job, boring, monotonous, but still MGTOW monk, yeah. Yeah, where's Kaizen Productions? Get a nice submissive Asian. Are they really submissive, or they play that way till they get their their claws latched in you, like Prince Andrew told me? Shoulder horn mainly works external rotation, works the rotator cuff muscles. I mean, you don't necessarily need it. I bought that thing years ago from a powerlifting magazines. Do DiCaprio and get a 24-year-old. Yeah, right. Do you think if DiCaprio was flipping burgers, he'd be pulling all these 20-something-year-olds, or not? If DiCaprio was working the desk of Broccoli Head Crunch Fitness, do you think at 50 plus years old or whatever he is, do you think he'd be getting hot 20-something-year-old girls? Do you think they'd give him the time of day? Please, somebody enlighten me. Who and what is a Nate? Delray Ripper. I weighed 240 when I did that 405 bench back in 2018. Yeah, fat grips are good for grip strength. Thanks, Ryan. Appreciate the prayers. God bless. Have a good and safe night or day wherever you are. Well, Dan, my friend Malcolm at his home gym where I lifted today, he's got the original Nautilus that Dorian used to use in the dungeon in England. The Nautilus pullover machine. You got to go light on it, and I'm a little shorter, so it's a little tough to get in there, but you can definitely. It's harder to replicate it with a dumbbell pullover like Arnold would do. I like it once you get a good feel for it. I mean, you could duplicate it by doing like a standing cable pull down, like a straight arm pull down, or lying incline on the bench. It's kind of similar, but I like it. I'm a fan of the pullover machine. You don't see them in any gyms, but well, I persuaded Lenny to do GHB first, and then when he discovered Phenibut, he told me how similar it was to GHB. He didn't have to persuade me. I knew I would try it because it was, I had good reaction to GHB. And Phenibut towards the end started giving me anxiety, so I stopped that in 2021. But he got hooked on it. He said he had like a perpetual buzz for like 2 days. I was 240. I don't know. Was I 280? No, I only got up to 240 that off season in 2018. Guest appearances for what, Meatball? What hand grips do I like for that standing pull down? The short straight bar or the little easy curl bar that are always, you hook up to the cable apparatus. Has it been confirmed, Macho Freak, that Leather Daddy and the Taco Queen split? He told me he was going to marry her a couple of years ago. Who do I prefer, Yates or Coleman? That's a tough. It'd be 1A and 1B. 1A Coleman, 1B Yates, but they're the two best in my book. Harold Betterson, welcome. Yeah, I would recommend Phenibut for presentation, but experiment well beforehand so you get the right amount. You don't want to be overstimulated. Yeah, it's a little different. It is a lot different than G, and it's longer acting for some reason than G. 18 forever, that's right. Celebrity guest appearance to a party, yeah, right. Phenibut versus Kratom, Phenibut. Thoughts on inversion boots? I never used them. Used to see guys doing them in the World Gym and Gold's Gym. It's kind of like the inversion table, the teeter hang-ups. Not a fan. They say it could detach your retina. And somebody like me I have anterior pelvic tilt, so I feel like it hanging like that puts me more into extension, so it kind of bothers my back a little bit more. Whereas if you got like a perfectly straight up and down lower back and spine, maybe then it's good for you. But for me, it like pushes me more into extension. E. Mufik, hello. Hello, my Swedish friend. Yeah. Especially frame of mind, you're socially awkward like I kind of am. GHB was like a whole new world for me in the late 90s. Who wins a fight, Delray Ripper or Leather Daddy? Delray Ripper's looking good for his age. He's like the oldest. Is he older than Jay? No. The last I saw, he looked. Lenny was really talking him up how good he looked. He's on the TRT gel. But Leather Daddy's got to be pretty tough working out in that heat all those years. That toughens you up working down there in that unforgiving Florida heat and humidity 10, 11 months out of the year. What muscle group did I struggle with the most for growth? Calves and quads. Work-based salvation, it is BS. Perfect example is the thief on the cross. He died that very day, accepted Christ, and went to heaven. He was a thief, a convicted convict. You tell me, buddy. I wish I knew of a good online devil juice source. Who's Delray Ripper? Meatball wants to know. You got to let them know, maniacs. What are legit sites for Phenibut? I don't know. Lift mode doesn't sell it anymore. Like I said, I haven't taken it in years. Do I like chin ups more than pull downs? Yeah, unless my AC joints really bothering me or my tendons around my elbow area, then I don't. I'll steer more towards pull downs. Well, I was doing 365 standing behind the neck press at my biggest, and then when I got into bodybuilding, for some reason I felt like it was blowing my gut out, so I did more seated. I was doing off-season bodybuilding from 2004 to 6. I was doing 315 seated military press. I remember any good-looking chick stopped and watched, and that was at the heyday of those gyms because nobody was doing it. Thoughts on Ramadan? What are they, from like sun up to sundown, no eating or drinking or smoking? For how long do they do that? Give Rhodes 1,000 bench press a pep talk. He leaves depressing comments on Lenny's videos daily. He's in a better place, absent from the body, face to face with the Lord. And I think he made his peace, with things at the end based off of the text messages he sent me and the tone of them. So, yeah, it's sad. I think about him every day. It's still hard to believe. It's not even been 6 months, but I mean, every time I think, I watch some wrestling or some joke, the first person I want to send it to is him, and he's gone. Or my mom, my mom would text me every day. So it's just, the last couple of years, but got to go on. Stiffen your lip and go on, my friends. Chatted up Chicanos. Now we're talking, Alex M. It's my kind of talk, buddy. Where are you? Why do you think Islam is so combatant and violent compared to Christianity nowadays? It's the whole foundation of the belief. It's the reward system, I believe. And if I'm not mistaken, there's verses that tell them to make war with infidels and make treaties and break them. But you see a lot of guys in prison, they swear by it, they turn their lives around, but it's not going to get you to heaven. It's a false religion, in my opinion. Mormonism, Jehovah's Witness, and this New Age philosophy that's been around, Scientology. But you got to ask, so many of them they mention Jesus Christ, but deny who he is. South Texas. What's your go-to pickup line, Alex, to pick up the Chicanas? Do I have any things from Lenny that I hold dear? No, I still use the neck harness that he first introduced me to, the Iron Mind red and blue one, but no personal gifts that I received from him. Hi, baby. Hey, baby. I'm legal. Mr. Timothy Wickberg. Good to see you, my friend. Who got Lenny's moldy green lunchbox? Who knows? I'm doing better than I deserve, Timothy. How are you? Poor Lenny, his legs were like a library on Sunday, no circulation. Lenny, Boston, and Piana, I miss all of them. Very charismatic and funny. Now, why would I ever go back to Florida? Especially now. I mean, my dad's here. He's going to be 80. My brother, my nieces. So I've been here 17 years. Didn't Lenny lose his good neck harness when Lou's Ford Flex got stolen by a hood? Yeah, I think I remember that. Yeah. What'd you think when Lenny got you banned from the gym when he was hawking up loogies? Nothing. I mean, we just where we start going then. There was like a Gold's Gym in East Boca. We started going there. My mindset at that time in my 20s, it was a blessing and a curse because I was able to lift the kind of weights I did, but with no foresight for the future, maybe preparing for a career at the same time, which I could have. I regret that, putting all my eggs in one basket, but I didn't even like bat an eye about it. Yeah, I could smell the smoke. The North Carolina fires are still 0% contained. I'm like an hour or so away, but I could smell it, and it's yeah, poor air quality, plus all the pollen. Did Jay really call my pastor? No, because I don't have a local church that I go to. I remember he said he was going to do that and harass my parents and whatnot. Raul Rodriguez, thoughts on Vince Goodrum messaging Logan Palumbo? Who and what is Logan Palumbo to do a live stream unbeknownst to his father Dave on the RX YouTube channel and cursing like a sailor at his age? I don't know. It's the first I'm hearing about that. Thanks, Timothy. Still in Arizona, buddy? No, I haven't spoken to Lou. I texted him about Lenny passing away back in October. That was it. Do I know if Lenny was buried or cremated? If I had to bet, I'd say cremated. South of the Dirty Myrtle. I've never been there. Dirty Myrtle Beach. Yeah, it's better like this, Timothy. If I come along once every few months, it's fresh and exciting. But if I do one of these once a week, it'll get pretty boring and dull. Gene Kim is a good teacher on YouTube. Who's that? Why did Lenny's chest look so funky? It was always like that ever since I knew him. I don't know. Probably just fatty tissue buildup, gyno unresolved. I don't know. Like Ric Flair, his chest. No word from Lenny's brother. He never got back to me. What were Lenny's best lifts? He did. How much did he bench at the bench meet? Close to 500. Dad lifted like 7 plates. I don't know. My best squat, I did 6 plates aside. He maybe did like 5. His big things were like shrugs, the neck harness. He could. We were standing curling 225 in his backyard at the Nelson residence. We were swinging it a little bit, but we were hitting a full range of motion. Ever consider becoming a sterile processing technician, cleaning surgical tools? My dad's mom, my grandmother, she passed away years ago, but she did that in the hospital like in the 60s or 70s, and they just hired anybody. Now you got to do like some college course for it. But you're always going to have a job doing that, I would imagine. Even if it became automated or computerized, I'm sure putting them in there and taking them out, there's a role for you to do that. So. Any funny Menti Lenny story that I remember? Yeah, a lot. Probably I've told them many times. Did I see Julius Maddox hit a 765 raw bench with a pause? Yeah, I think I saw that. Yeah, it's impressive. Do I think good Vince Goodrum had a good physique in his prime? I don't know. I never saw what he looked like. Yeah, Maddox is because he's a lot taller than me. He's got to be well over 400 pounds. Still, hey, it's impressive. He's the top bencher. But Rob Zilla, I don't know. My understanding was it was an overdose on, I don't know on what, but whenever I hear a young foul mouthed boy cursing, I think of Big Lenny and that boy and just start laughing. No, Lenny was always, he had a soft, kind hearted side. From the day I met him when he was what, 20, 28, 29 years old. But he had the kooky side too. But yeah, he was, I mean, his upbringing, I mean, he had a strict Catholic upbringing. So he knew, how to be well mannered and morally sound at times. Thoughts on Scott Mendelson? He was a big bencher. I mean, whoever that was, his wife or girlfriend, smacking him around to get him fired up. And Leo told him about me on one of Leo's podcasts years ago. And he said he would love to work with somebody like me that just raw with no formal bench training to, somebody that benched what I did right out of the gate without any training from a powerlifting technique guru. I wouldn't get G'd up, but I would use it to sleep for sure. I never met Mr. G or spoke to him. Do I feel the Holy Spirit when I pray? How do we know if we've been saved? Not so much when I pray, which I don't pray as nearly as enough or as much as I should. When I read scripture, I see it. I notice it more. If I just contemplate what I've read and reflect on it, then that's when I notice the Holy Spirit's presence more. But I think that's one of one of the ways you know you're saved is reading scripture and like reflecting on it, how much truth lies in it. And well, I mean, God spoke to me very infrequently in prayer, where it was like clear as day. Years ago, one time it was seeing the lottery sign on the highway, which is like just for like a split second. It was like just a voice told me you wouldn't be happy if you won that. I would help a lot of people, but I would like a lot of people lead to my demise. Or years ago when I was in the early days of being a Christian, praying to meet a woman at the time, and God said, "You don't have the capacity for one at this time." I know I kind of like veered away from it since then, but I need to pray more often. But I'll read devotionals and listen to sermons daily on a daily basis. But confess your sins to God before you study or pray or listen to a sermon, so then you'll get a good clear understanding of the word. That's how you are filled with the Spirit, is confessing your sins to God, naming and citing the him. Like 1 John 1:9 says, He is faithful and just to forgive us our sins and cleanse us from all unrighteousness. Then you get back into fellowship, because when you're sinning, you're in the flesh. And if my cats ever get fluid in abdomen, not that I know of. Yeah, Big Victor and Synthol Mark were good ventures. Favorite thing to do when I'm bored? I don't know. My day's really regimented. Like now, after this, I'll probably just watch TV. Then I go to bed, and I'll watch some YouTube videos. I go to bed, get up early for work, but I'll read, not because I'm bored. It's just because I want to learn something or read the Bible or listen to a sermon. I mean, I was out all day. I lifted. I had to go to a couple of grocery stores. So I don't have so much time on my hands where I'm like lonely or bored. Can you still be a good Christian if you enjoy the company of tens? You're not a good Christian if you're doing that regularly. If it's habitual, you're living in sin, you're out of fellowship with God, you're in the flesh, you're a backslider, whatever you want to call it. And you got to get it straightened out. Otherwise, God will discipline you or take you home early. I'm bald because of mainly drugs, but also genetics. My uncle on my mom's side, I never met him. He was a Korean War vet. She said I was built like him, and he went bald early, and he never took steroids. So, genetically predisposed, and then taking all that Tren and Winstrol and everything else, master on. No, I don't have that truck. I sold that truck in 2019. What channels do I watch on YouTube? A bunch. Uh, I'll watch some Cincinnati Bengals coverage, football. Um, Give Me an Answer with Cliff Connectley. He's a Christian apologist. I like Frank Turek's. I don't have enough faith to be an atheist channel. A lot of Christian stuff. Sean Ryan podcast is good. I like his stuff. I'll watch some Joe Rogan clips. Past couple of days, I was watching John Bravo's coverage of Wes Watson and which led me to Eric Kanefsky's little prank videos. So I have premium, so I don't watch the commercials. There's no commercials. And then I'm watching Dark Side of the Cage about UFC fighters, and then Dark Side of the Ring. The only movie Lenny and I went to see was The Passion of Christ in 2004. Jesse Lee Peterson. Yeah, Lenny introduced me to his channel. I'll watch some of his stuff, some of the interviews. Amazing. That's amazing. Yeah, you get everything pretty much that's on Spotify, I would imagine, on YouTube Premium. But I listen to it in the background in the gym. I'll listen to a podcast, or there's tons of music. I can put it on continuous play. I like it premium. I remember when it was like $7 or $8 back in 2016 per month. Jake the Snake. I grew up a Christian but turned away from it later on. Now I want to return to Christianity. Any advice on where to start? I mean, it's these churches around here are lackluster, in my opinion. But if you still have doubts, you could Frank Turek. I don't have enough faith to be an atheist. Give me an answer with Cliff Connectly on YouTube, because people ask difficult questions and they give good answers. And then start reading again the start of the Gospel of John, and then pray to God to guide you to, even if it's an internet ministry. I mean, we're not supposed to forsake our assemblings together in church, but pray to lead you to a good local church or online ministry. Doctors don't recommend a repeat calcium score because statins actually calcify plaque, so it would only go up, is what they told me. D-Sec, thank you. Very generous. 100 shekels. Sick of this shit. Thoughts on the PM pastors? Not a fan of most. Total test of 286. Yeah, that's plenty low to get on TRT. I don't have sleep apnea anymore, as long as I keep my weight under about 230, 240. I don't pray the rosary, no. That's a Catholic thing. I don't know of any Protestants that do that. No, I don't like Arby's. Me and Lenny used to eat it because it was dirt cheap back in the day. That roast beef isn't roast beef. I don't know what it is. Last time I took gear was 2019. Last year I checked my test. The total test was like 4 something. For bodybuilding prep, Garrett, I did up to an hour and a half a day of cardio. And the diet was just egg whites, maybe one whole egg mixed in for breakfast with half a cup of, a dry measure of oatmeal. Chicken, 10 ounces of chicken breast, or like fish, or lean turkey breast with like half a cup of rice and some broccoli. Post-workout shake with cream of rice. And then I had 96% lean red meat or chicken breast and veggies basically for the next 2 meals. That was it. Lifted the same. Will I ever cut down from 200 to 180? Maybe. I'd be curious to see what I look like. That'd be the lightest since high school for me. I just eat. I kind of eyeball. I know what I'm getting, at least 200 grams of protein per day, but I don't count it. You got something for me, big man? Yeah, Garrett, this is something you can get. The Voice of the Martyrs. This book's really helping me. It's devotional stories from I mean, the hell these Christians go through everywhere from Cuba to around the time of the Holocaust, Korea, being killed for their faith. So it's sad, but it's also inspiring. Thoughts on the science-based lifting community on YouTube, like Jeff Nippert, Mike Israetel. Jeff Nippert, I like some of the shorts. It's quick and to the point. You can learn get a lot out of a 5-10 minute video. So I think it helps a lot of people. But I know a lot of people, other YouTubers bash them. But I mean, whatever. Most of the PM pastors are of the same ilk. The prosperity gospel, name it and claim it, and I don't believe in any of that. Speaking in tongues. Butter shakes were a real thing. You can order the shirt off of DelReyMisfitGear.com. No news from Big Lenny's family. Nope. Queen Bootsy is sleeping. Sleeps all day and terrorizes me all night, attacking my feet, running in and out. What cheat meal did me and Lenny eat after our competitions? Whatever diner was like in Fort Lauderdale, or like an IHOP, or where did we go one time? It wasn't IHOP, I can't remember. But we had like 2 or 3 meals a piece, like cheeseburger, fries, like a milkshake, probably like a steak and pancakes. I can't remember where we went, but that type of thing. According to Meow Man, Andrew's faith for the faithless. Yeah, I like it. It's catchy. Thanks, Secret Sauce. Is that Charles Darwin? What was the worst injury I ever had? Minor pec tear. Uh, some quad strains I had while training, and the meniscus tear in 2021, but that was after my competitive career. Yeah, there's a lot of denominations. I don't know why, but I don't get so much caught up in that. I mean, maybe they all have different doctrines, but just as long as the essentials, faith alone by Christ alone, you don't get saved by works. Um, you can't lose your salvation. I think that's a fact that's important that they should preach. I don't believe in tongues or prosperity gospel or that everything's going to be peachy in this life and you're not going to suffer. Thoughts on starting a family in the next few years for the young maniacs? People are still doing it. I think it's few and far between. Uh, but I believe if you have a good Christian upbringing, you bring them up that way, then I mean, a very good chance they're going to turn out and be good, solid individuals in the years to come. But I think we're in the end time, so I mean, I don't think many people are going to get the chance. Did I see Jay's mom interrupting his last live? It's been radio silent since. No, I wasn't aware he was doing lives. I don't know. I didn't know that. When Lenny dieted for shows, he didn't cheat at all. He ate clean, but you saw what he ate when he was off season. It was like steak and milk and cereal and fruit, spinach salad. He wasn't a candy eater. We went through our phase where we, at our heaviest, where we eating ice cream. After we lifted, we had our shake, we had our big protein meal, calorie meal, and then we had ice cream. We were, when we were at our biggest. But when it was time to diet, he didn't deviate from any diet. He ate clean the whole way through. Is Lenny's dad going to hell? I don't know what his relationship with the Lord is. I think he's a devout Catholic. But has he trusted Christ alone as Savior and not works and not, praying, praying the rosary, praying to Mary, etc. I never met him. If he believes on the Lord Jesus Christ, he shall be saved. Is that true, Rhubarb Giraffe? Jay's mom told him to stop recording and he shut it off the live like a good boy. Thoughts on John Cena becoming a bad guy in WWE? He's still wrestling? I thought he was retired. Yeah, when you take insulin, you have to take in more simple sugars. So, but other than that, he ate clean for the shows. Meow Man, at this point in life, do you still got stuff inside like the Boys Next Door guy? I have to admit, I do. Yeah. I like watching that movie from time to time. It's usually like on Tube. You can get it on Tubi or Freevee or one of those free apps on the Fire TV. But yeah, I honestly do. But I'm not gonna. Unfortunately, I can't go do what those guys did in that movie. But I still take it out in the gym. I got back to deadlifting, squatting. I only really lift 3 days a week now, sometimes 4, but I kind of channel it. The negative energy of the flesh, I'll call it, the stuff inside. But I don't think I'll ever be rid of it. I don't think human beings, that stuff, you could be a Christian, but it's just part of the fleshly nature, or the duality that we have, the spirit life and then the flesh. It's just, and a lot of it's righteous indignation of things, how they are. Jesus was born close to the Middle East. Does that mean he was an Arab? If I'm not mistaken, all those people from that region, whether Jewish or not, are Semitic. But I may be wrong. Maybe it just applies to Jewish people. But I thought anybody that's Semitic, Middle Eastern. Jay, does Lot Lizards Live a true guide to navigate the toothless, ruthless trance? What was one of my favorite mints? I'll give you a non-Lenny related one. When Brad was with Jason in the parking lot there in Delray, having him cut his nasty gangly toenails. He filmed it. That was one. And then one with Lenny. I don't know what kind of drugs he was on. It was after the old World Gym or Gold's Gym closed. They were at the Palm Beach Gym, where he was on the leg press, and he's like, Chuck E. Cheese, Chance. Jane behind the scenes is just like how she is on camera, kooky and goofy. How close do I think Armageddon is? I give no more than 2 decades. I don't know. I think within the next 10 years, honestly. I mean, I don't care how good a shape Trump or whoever they may get this country in. I think we're really close with the AI. Just the um, the low birth rate here in this country, the male female dynamic in Western countries. I think we're real close, and I don't think any president's going to change that. It's going to take a spiritual awakening. I just don't think it's going to happen. No, I haven't spoken to Jason. Sid Vicious, yeah, he's one of my favorite wrestlers. Look, Andrew, vroom vroom. Did Rob Zilla die from fentanyl? I don't know. I don't know what he died from. No, I haven't spoken to Dale since Lenny passed away. He was kind enough to give me a call. McCuck bought a bike just to impress Brad. Oh. Give me a sec here, maniacs. How are the ladies treating me? It's non-existent. Can I retell the vroom vroom story? Yeah, the Gold's Gym in Delray, back when Lenny and I were training there in like 2005 or six. There was a tanning salon next door with a young teenage girl working there, and her little motor scooter was outside. And me and Lenny were all G'd up leaving the gym, and Lenny was bare chested. And he goes, "Look at this, Andrew." And he went and sat on it, and he was like staring at the girl inside. He starts going vroom vroom, and the girl, mutual friend John Durante, the girl was friends with. He turned pro as a little Filipino bodybuilder. He got all pissed off. He's like, "Bro, what's up with Lenny scaring my friend at the tanning salon?" No, that's good. You're doing Olympic lifts. I wish I would have got into them more. Lenny and I tried, but we were muscling the weight up on the power cleans. But yeah, as long as you're doing them seamlessly without a lot of aches and pains, yeah, go for it. Plenty of benefits. Yeah, John Durante, the one that he's Filipino, but Jason called him Vietnamese. Thoughts on Brad's divorce? I don't know. Was he married to the girl, or they just cohabitating? I don't know. I never met the girl. I'm sure Brad's on the prowl. Brad's back on the horse looking for another one, eh? Brad's a hunter, scanning those lonely streets for his heart again. He's the hunter. No updates on Lenny's cat, unfortunately. Are pogroms positive for society? What is a pogrom? Brad threw away a great friendship for a Jay Leno look-alike. Brad's on the prowl again, hitting up those Hinge and Grinder and whatever those dating apps are. You guys know what they are, and Brad's on them. Somebody should infiltrate, become a woman, and trick Brad into meeting. Brad's running through dive bars like a warm knife through butter looking for the next Jay Leno. Nobody knows Onyx's status. Brad's on the prowl at Dixie Highway. Brad's grinder handle is leather daddy. Brad, the bathhouse brawler. Brad's a hunter, scanning the apps like Grinder again. How can EJ be a man of God and a raging, flaming home at the same time? Those people like that are in the church, and if they're truly not saved, grifting off the churchgoers, there's a most severe punishment for them, I believe. What compounds? Nothing. Fedoja and Long Jack. I just finished running that. The Samson Project from Israel. No, never heard of it. Any future modern day Winston Churchill podcast for me? I don't know. If he asked me to do another one, I'd probably do it. Wonder what Brad's opening lines on Tinder are. I want to love like I've never been hurt before. Do the science fitness YouTubers piss me off as much as Alan Talby? We addressed this earlier. I don't mind them. I don't watch excessive content from those guys, but little shorts and whatnot. Taco Chin was overrated anyway. I hear the voices Bradley speaks when he's talking in his sleep. The hardest show I had to prep for and why was the 2005 Southern States. It was the most ripped I ever was. And I got sick a couple times. I caught two colds for some reason. I was really run down. I was messing around with a teenage gal, not getting enough sleep and getting G'd up a lot. But I stuck to the diet. I didn't cheat. But I was so thin, and might have been from tanning, and the skin of my head was like, when I was shaving my head, it was like chunks of skin were coming off. And I was miserable. I cramped up. And only to place 7th place out of 12. I was kind of pissed about that. But quick pump. Does Brad smoke cigarettes? He's probably a social smoker when he goes to what's that bar? The biker bar down there. I can't think of the name. Lenny used to say it. Brad's theme song was Poster Boy to the tune of Shawn Michaels' theme. I think I'm cute. I got a pension. I smoke weed up and down my route. Yeah, I smell the smoke from the fires, but I'm not in any danger. I'm not in an evacuation zone, but I can still smell the smoke, Simon, and they say they're not contained. Diuretics for natural contest prep. That Expel, that MHP is the one a lot of people like. You could do dandelion root. What was with those Hammerskin Nation in the bench video? I don't know why they all showed up and a couple of them competed in it. They came from like a northern area, Palm Beach County. But I bursted their bubble that day, I'm sure. Showing up out of nowhere with a turquoise T-shirt. How did Lenny's room look when rented out? A bedroom in a home. Lenny had a thing for tan 1010s when I met him. Mufik. Way back in 98, 99, he told me. I never used New Bane, no. Yeah, AA, we all go through our ups and downs. I get like that in the winter. The shorter days, it's dark and dreary. But I feel pretty good now. Longer days, nicer weather. Get that sunshine I got the last couple of days help. But still, this isn't our permanent home here on Earth. This is temporary. We're vapors here. So don't get too attached. Why is your cholesterol so bad, TBD? Is it diet? Are you taking gear? What did you? So what's going to happen with Brad's home gym if he leaves that place? Yeah, 90s, late 90s and early 2000s was the heyday. You had the GHB analog precursors, over the counter, ephedrine. You're darn right, Kaizen Productions. Doesn't Brad frequent H.J. O'Connor's pub? Who and what is that? Can you describe how a steroid deal went down in the 90s in Florida? Yes, meet out in the parking lot, or a couple guys I would just meet at a grocery store parking lot. Like, I was living in Boynton, one guy lived in Boca, or I went to his house. He was living with his girlfriend, so I just went there and got the stuff. Or a parking lot. I didn't do any ordering for mail back then. I just always knew somebody that had it. I'd say it's more the EQ ruin your lipids. Cholesterol's over 400, and I have a perfect calcium score. But calcium score is going to pick up soft plaque, but once that cholesterol hardens, then you'll have the higher calcium score. All that yard work Taco Queen forced Brad to do, all for nothing. Would I do a podcast with Prince someday? Of course. Have I been given my alpha credentials by the great one? Who's that? Want to run a beginner cycle of 250 megs of test E thoughts? Yeah, that's slightly higher than a TRT dose that a clinic would give you, I would imagine. That's great. Get some good clean tests in you. I'm working in retail still, Meatball. No, I didn't play football in high school. That's why I started lifting weights to prepare for football, but I was way too small to begin with. And by the time I had any size, I was a senior, and I've kind of lost my interest in team sports. Did I ever hear from Hamburg? When I was on Instagram, he would contact me regularly. Will TRT alone make a big difference if you're low? Yeah, I've heard, a lot of older guys, it's not going to get you, it'll get you still within a normal range. It's not going to give you above to that upper limit or beyond to where you're going to make these massive gains like a pro bodybuilder, but quality of life and libido and energy and sleep and things like that, recovery, those things will be way better for you. Thoughts on moving to an Amish community with a suitcase of Phenibut? They'll run you off. in a New York minute, my friend. I was never an atheist. I always believed in God, but believing in God alone doesn't, you know, like it says in the book of James, he says, "You do well. Even the demons believe in God and shudder." But I didn't have Christ as my savior. But I always believe in a higher power, like a lot of people say they do. But it's a good place to start. But you're not saved. There's no relationship with Jesus Christ. Was there any guys I competed against that ended up being a good pro? One guy, he was in the heavyweights, and I was a super heavyweight. Jason Huh. He was a good pro, but I don't think he competes anymore. And the little Venezuelan guy, or whatever, he was, I don't know what he did as a pro, but he turned pro. They had him lined up next to me in '05. His legs blew mine away. He might have been a good pro, but I don't know that he competed. He was from somewhere in South America. But yeah, that was it. John Durante became, I don't know that he won anything as a pro, but he became pro. uh, Nick Walker's gut, I don't know. I think it's a case of not being able to put the toothpaste back in the tube. When's the last time Hamburger sent you a picture of him holding a Monster Energy can, sticking his tongue out? But I've never got one of those. Thoughts on WWE spinner belt that debuted in 2005? I don't know. Spinner belt? I don't know. I vaguely remember it. Was there anything funnier than Lenny riling up Brad? Yeah, the chemistry on camera was top tier, in my opinion. Top three favorite wrestlers. Yeah, it's tough. There's more than three. Four right off the bat. You got the Road Warriors, Powers of Pain. I like Nikita Koloff, Ivan Putski, Ted Arcidi, Hercules, Ultimate Warrior. Who else? Dino Bravo. All the juiced up guys from the 80s. That's why I started hitting the weights. I saw Pantera live twice. Yeah, twice. Twice in West Palm. The cats are still at the old apartment, and Bootsy's sleeping under my bed. Did I ever jimmy up body parts to make them larger, and which ones, if yes? Jimmy up. Like synthol? I don't know. No, I never did that. Brad looks like CM Punk Floridian version. Yeah, I remember the Attitude Era of WWF. That was back in the VHS days. I would tape the Raw show and watch Nitro, or vice versa. Usually, I watched Nitro live and taped Raw. Rick Rude, yeah, I like Rick Rude. Rick Martel, I remember him from the AWA days. He was pretty good. Still lifting. I don't know if you could say heavy. Nitro versus Raw. I like Nitro better. Was that what it was called? WCW Nitro on Mondays? Yeah, Wes Watson. I don't know what's going to happen with him. He's a convicted felon, and where they jumped at the 7-foot tall monster that went in there to fight him. But it'll be interesting to see how that plays out. But he keeps doubling down and just basically inviting people and asking for it to come out and either troll him or fight him. So some people can't help themselves. No, I don't think Lenny had a funeral or even a celebration of life, which all the people do nowadays. Thoughts on Sam Shamoun, the dude that debates Mohammedans? I don't know who that is. Did I ever talk to John Bravo on the phone? No, he probably doesn't even have a clue who I am. Didn't even acknowledge me when Lenny died. Yeah, Transformex, because John Bravo didn't show what the guy looked like, but I saw it on Transformex's YouTube channel last night. The guy's face was all swollen. You think deadlifting while losing a decent amount of weight is more dangerous, maybe glycogen depletion? I think squatting and benching. Um, Honestly, I think your deadlift will be, you'd hold your strength in a deadlift more than the squat and bench. Pulling, maybe switch to rack deadlifts, but I don't think just, because of glycogen depletion while you're while you're cutting that you should steer clear of it. Yeah, I watched the Iron Claw. It was a good movie. The Von Erich brothers. There's Transformex pumps. MD from Sweden. Would you and the alcoholic trucker ever get together for a bench day? Nah, I don't. I'd be ashamed to show my bench on camera these days. Pomp should have been Jason's stepdad. Maybe he is. Did I ever get depressed when you got off anabolics cold turkey? Oh, a little bit. Lenny used to come out all sheepish and say he was fat and flabby and estrogen soaked, and he wanted to ditch the gym, and I'd make him go with me because I felt good. I wanted to get rep records, or vice versa, where I would be off and feeling flabby and didn't really want to train, and he was feeling good, so we'd go, lift up the other and encourage him. The calcium score's still through the roof, and that's where it's going to stay, Andy. Thoughts on quality salt and magnesium for muscles? Maybe placebo, but every time if I do an Epsom salt bath, like when my legs get real sore, it's very relaxing, and I notice a difference. But I heard it's not legit that it really gets through your pores and skin like that. But I don't know. I noticed a difference in soreness. It doesn't take it all out completely, but I feel significantly better. Pump slayed thousands of Nate's people. Best bar for skull crushers, probably the Easy Curl bar. Jay is currently still grounded by mommy. Yow Mania, the Super Bowl podcast. Yeah, deadlift is the safest. Look at Jay when he was. I think he blamed the Winstrol when he blew out his knees on that squat. He said it weakens tendons. Why do you think Lenny got obsessed with Christina Broccolini? He grew up around a lot of Italian girls up in Pittsburgh, and I think it reminded him of something wholesome from his youth, because he always used to speak about these good-looking Italian girls up there in Pittsburgh when he was a kid. Yeah, I believe angels. The what is it? The Nephilim, where they created the race of giants. But I believe we have guardian angels. But Satan, he led one third of the angels to rebel against God. So, and they're somewhere. They haven't been sentenced to the pits of hell yet, to my knowledge. Or maybe some of them have, or chained in Tartarus somewhere. But you still have plenty of demonic influence on Earth. Inside grip. Lenny should have seen Geo Scotty. Look her up. Who is she? Meatball, like the guy when my mom passed away in 2023, and when the guy from the funeral home came in, and like he told my dad, my brother, and me that I'll say, about Lenny, you knew it was coming, but you're never ready for it. Is the best way I could put it. So, kind of knew with Lenny based off my last conversations, but it still hits you like a ton of bricks when it's the finality of it. What's a British cigarette? Would Lenny still like Christina if she married a Tatsoon? Yeah, I bet he would. Yeah, I save it. It goes to my channel, Knight Rider. I'm going to be closing shop here in a few minutes. I'm approaching an hour and a half. It flies by, doesn't it, maniacs? Thoughts on turkesterone? It's funny you mentioned that. I was looking at it today. Was thinking about trying it, but they say most of it's bunk. Even Gorilla Mine, even what's his name, Derek, his brand, and the one on Amazon was like dirt cheap from old school bodybuilding supplements. I'm glad I didn't pull the trigger on it. Waste my $30. Probably uh, grass clippings in there. But all it is that was beta ectosterone has been around a long time, and it's maybe there's been some studies revealed that it does something or a higher dose of it. I don't know. We've talked about Lenny here and there, but to my knowledge, there was no funeral. Nobody's heard from his brother, MD. That's the long story short. Yeah, I'm a Christian, Jasmine. I study the Bible. I have it here right next to me. I was reading it. I've been born again since 2008. Have I gone astray since then? Of course. Maybe Brad will come up this way again, Ezra. I think his kid is in college somewhere in North Carolina. A couple of years ago, remember he came to North Carolina and we trained at Dale's gym and I filmed it. Lenny's brother equals English cigarette. Malt Licky Militia is about to do his first set of squats. So gotta get him fired up. Think of some hot girl turning you down, some job, all the cookie cutters, eating pizza, drinking cokes. That's what Lenny's dad used to tell him. People eating your lunch out there. Think about it. There's always somebody you can point to that's got it better than you, or the appearance that they have it better than you. And they're not in there doing that at 8:30 at night. They're out there drinking it up, toking on British cigarettes. Have I ever been up north? Not for a while. 2011 was the last time I was up. Went up to Rhode Island. Was there an event that happened that brought me back to my faith? Yeah, the finding out the extent of the heart issue in 2020, because I was doing a lot of kratom, phenibut, this high THC content CBD stuff, and I started getting panic attacks. And then so around Christmas 2020, when I found out I have like 60% blockages, and just that was it for me. That led me back to Christ, because I went astray once I made my appearances with the Misfits in 2018, and I started competing and juicing again. And then when I came back here, it was self-medicating to fill that void, but I got away from all of it. Yeah, I was led back to Christ. But all the bad medical events in my life have been, without them, I, been dead and on the road to hell, because that's what pointed me to Christ every time. Cardiac cath, 2020, where they go in. That's the gold standard. The calcium score just tells you your calcium score, doesn't tell you where it is. No, I haven't touched kratom since then, or phenibut or anything. Bradford Manor is now Castle Taco Queen. Do you think Hamburg's wife, Sandra, was attractive? I really like her name. I don't know. I never saw her. But I like Hamburg. He was always nice to me. I never met him in person, but kratom almost gave you a seizure. Yeah, it's the last time I took it. It was awful, scary. I almost went to the ER, but I knew it was just, I had to let it wear off. But I was like, never again. Just severe paranoia, heart palpitations. I felt like I was fading in and out of reality. Do I have relatives in Quebec? Not to my knowledge. Yeah, I got panic attacks from kratom, phenibut, the CBD that had a lot of THC content. I haven't touched anything. I can still see my abs, but there's more flab there. Too many cheat meals. I don't talk to Big J or Prince Andrew. I haven't spoken to either in years. That's right, Fernandez. Best drug is Yeshua. Yeah, I like Alpha GPC. It's a great brain supplement. It increases strength output by 14%, according to Andrew Huberman. Yasmin Kari, thank you. I assume you're on the same path. It's the year of the cat. Do-do-do, do-do-do, do-do-do. Do you believe the bad guys won WW2? No, but Lenny used to tell me he thought that we should have teamed up with the Nazis and annihilated Russia, the Soviet Union. That's right. No bad guys, just the mega rich, the elites versus us. Is Canada too cookie cutter? That's what they say. We had a guy on here earlier who said he's depressed him. What a hellhole. Commie Canada. I've never been there, so I can't speak to it, but I know they have the what do they call it? The medically assisted suicide in Canada. That's pretty depressing. Oof. For like young people, the diseases, I guess people, my mom towards the end, she didn't want to live anymore. She was going through hell, but just young, like depressed people, like I don't agree with that. Canada's done. Yes, Switzerland has it. Fight it and come to the States. Don't give in to that crap. Yeah, see these guys on here? They're from Canada, Alberta, Canada. It's going down the tubes. Yeah, we are. We're still living in 1984. Like I said earlier, maybe Trump will buy us more time, but it's inevitable what's going to happen. Hey, hey, ho, ho, Western Civ has got to go. So I watch Bucktoe Truck. He's a conservative Canadian strongman with lots of humor and promotes morality and confidence. No, I never heard of him. News report says a veteran in Canada called the crisis line for help, and then they suggested the suicide pod to him. Pretty sad. Why do you think Canada is so secular in Western Europe and most of the states? Anybody got a reason? If only there was someone in the 1930s that tried to stop this. Who would you be referring to? Look at this, pal. I still got it. Urgh. Azera D because of the French influence. Yeah, like the guy Leo was trying to set me up with. It was a friend of his wives and friend of his wife's in Europe. Some girl. He goes, she wants to meet you, bro, and he sent me her Instagram profile and said, "Life is just one big party." That's what she had to say on there. I said, "No, I'm not interested in that, Leo. Life isn't just one big party." The Austrian painter was right all. The Austrian vegetarian who loved animals. One day the world will know I was right. The French bankers. Cookie cutters think life is a big party full of fun. The pleasure seekers, that's what Lenny would call them. Everybody's a pleasure seeker. The Austrian dog lover. One day the world will know Lenny was right. uh, Palm sent me a text message yesterday with a generated image of somebody named Kanye holding a phone with Lenny's picture on it. He said, "Do you think Kanye would get along with Lenny?" And I said, "Who and what is Kanye?" I hope I don't meet the same demise as Benito Mussolini, how he died, if you catch my drift. Life's one big party, the French gal said, and Leo wanted to set me up with her. Your thoughts on the leaked chat of Pete Hegseth and JD Vance, among others. What's his name? Victor Davis Hanson just spoke about it on his YouTube channel, The Daily Signal. That's a major mishap. I don't know how it happened. Head should roll for it. Supposedly nothing too sensitive was leaked. It was just, no concrete military plans or whatever. But how the hell does that happen? And the people in the comments were like, there's a mole, there's an infiltrator, somebody posing as a conservative Trump supporter that was behind it. Who knows? Probably, yeah. I think it was an intentional leaker. Yeah, there was a lot of truth in what Lenny said. I could see widespread people in tents in this country, can't you? We still have trillions of debt. I mean, think about an electromagnetic pulse on this country. They said it'll send us back to the caveman days. I won't survive without my meds. I won't be here long. Imagine there'll be widespread tent habitants. I don't think he was crazy, and I don't think he was far off about that, Lenny. All right, Jasmine, have a good night. The guy that it was leaked to was named Goldberg. Let that sink. Are you done with social media? This is the extent of it, MD. I've been off Instagram almost 3 years. I don't know. It's a cesspool, Instagram. I could get all my little cat fixes on here on YouTube, but I like chatting with you guys, so I'll do one of these once in a while. That's what I miss the most, but I would never go back after 2+ years off Instagram. I would date a Candace Owen type. I like her. I like her vibe, as the cookie cutters say. Next Friday, go live again. Yeah, Friday's actually a day that works for me. I met Lenny's wife, Rosie Cadet. Yeah, she was a Haitian singer. I agree. Instagram is an MK Ultra. Hell, I'm going to delete mine this year. I think it is. TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, dating apps. I think the average dating app is akin to that story where they say, if you could have all these ants in a stable, dirt, and they're fine, but when you shake them up, then they attack and devour one another. I think that's what dating apps are, and Instagram is the shaking of the ants. What do you think of that, maniacs? Somebody coined that. Social media is the shaking of the ants of the world to get them all riled up against each other. X, Twitter. All the cookie cutter gals tell Kaizen Productions they like his vibe. Good for you. I don't know. Haven't had any problems on dating apps. You're one of the 2%, the top echelon of men that you'll have all the success. For the rest of the schleps and schmucks, it's pure hell. The oohs and the ahs. Feel free to steal Meow Man's quotes. Who would you rather, Jane Genova or Sexy Vanessa from Big Lou's Party? I was with Sexy Vanessa, I think. The old bag, the porn star. Do you think a civil war is inevitable in the U.S. within this or the next decade? Yeah, I think it is. I think all the people that have come through the border, probably more than we can count. I've heard stories of military-age Chinese surveying lands. the cartels, the drug gangs and whatnot, they're rounding them up pretty good and sending them back. But I think the Chinese, the spies, and maybe who knows where else, Russian, Middle Eastern, I think there's a lot of them in here that they kind of got lost track of, and they're getting intel. They've infiltrated us. Maybe not a full all out civil war, but like I touched on earlier, there's just the lack of the divorce rate being so high, the male female dynamics in the Western civilizations is just shit. Yeah, you don't get fooled. You'll see some marriages here and there. You see the highlights on Instagram. Everybody's lovey-dovey, but divorce rate I think is going to continue to go up. It's not going to end. I mean, it's just going to take a spiritual awakening in this country. So I don't know if it'll be a civil war, but this country is going, down the tubes for sure. Maybe it's delayed, like I said, because you got Trump in here now. But it's like shining up a piece of shit. That's what's happening right now. Christian mingle. I tried it, MD, in 2013. And I met a girl from Virginia. She was a Liberty University student. We met in Raleigh, North Carolina. We went to a museum because she said she liked art. So I asked her, I said, do you think Jesus had long hair? And she's like, yeah. I said, I don't think he did. I said, because the scripture said long hair on a man's the sign of rebellion. So we went our separate ways, and she texted me a few days later and said her spirit was unsettled with me and she didn't want to pursue a relationship anymore. It's a true story. Beer, weed, fireworks, 2 divorces, pension plan, garage gym, tattoos, beard, Austrian painter, Austrian painter haircut. You found your Christian girlfriend on Hinge. We vetted each other closely. We're pretty happy. It just takes a week or so to find a good one. There's Christian gals on there. I wish I could go back to the 50s, or I was never there, but and the 80s was a good time. Yeah, the Old Testament, Samson had long hair, but in I think one of the Corinthians says long hair on a man's sign of rebellion. No, Jesus came to fulfill the law. He didn't rebel against it. The slick, the religious folks of the day tried to trip him up with scripture. I had long hair with highlights in my teens. Tutti fruity. I had long hair in 6th grade. I was into Metallica. Brad's too busy puffing on the jazz cabbage. Where can I find the similar communities as the 50s? Please let me know. Ethan, how you doing? You still in, where are you, Tennessee? I should get a wig for my next live, Meatball. What do you think? How about a blonde wig like the Hanson singers, those Hanson kids? Do I like emo girls? Yeah. Well, actually, when I see them around, I think they're attractive for some reason. What's Discord? I don't. Is that like a chatting app? No, I don't have it. Nothing to that extent. Thank you for the $5, Bench Press Maniac. Yeah, this girl, when I was at LA Fitness as a trainer in 2006, we had a computer where we did our schedule. Her name was Renee. She was separated from her husband, and she had a kid, 2 years old. He was never around, but one of the managers set her up to train with me, and then we went out on a few dates and hung out at her house. She didn't work. She had a nice house that her husband, who she was separated from, was paying for. And of course, we got the story. He was abusive, this and that, the typical. But everything was going well. Went on a few dates, and then she ghosted me. And the next thing I know, I was going to schedule in the LA Fitness, and there was a note in there that the girl canceled and told the manager of the gym that I was harassing her and stalking her. Nothing, as far as with the cops or legal matters came to it, but it was a false allegation. Nobody asked me about it. She just used it as an excuse to stop training with me and like disappeared from the gym. So was that. But nothing where I had to go to court over, thankfully. Make an Amazon wish list so we can send you wigs. I don't watch Fox News as much anymore. Ever since O'Reilly left, I like to watch Bill O'Reilly. He's not on there anymore. I like Michael Savage, though. He's on Sunday night on Newsmax. Thoughts on feminism destroying America? It's a poison that's cut so deep, even infiltrating churches and church women. As I just, like I mentioned earlier, it's just my opinion. It's how I don't know. I think it's a fact, actually. It's so ruined this culture and society. Western, everywhere from Western Europe to Canada, Australia here. I mean, you're going to get pockets of some maybe semi-traditional girls and what appears to be, good male-female relationships. But I think it's a big reason for the downfall of this country. And I met women that were divorced and said, "Oh, I was married to one guy for so long. I need to have some fun now and sleep around. And I'm not the submissive type. Yet you sit in church every Sunday." Weighing in at about 210. No, I took the niacin that caused flushing, and it didn't do a thing for my cholesterol while I was on gear. And I just watched a video on YouTube today. This guy said that raises blood sugar. It's bad for your eyes because you got to take such high dosages. Leo said it's a cosmetic. It will have a cosmetic effect, so it'll maybe raise your HDL, but does nothing for LDL. Thank you for the money for cat food. It's expensive. Bootsy is appreciative. T. Griff. I'm 5'8", like 210. I don't know. I heard Brad and Taco parted ways. I don't know the details. I never met her. I don't speak to Brad. He's very secretive and private. Yeah, nice and will cause flushing. Bootsy's good. She's resting up because she runs wild all night and torments me when I try to sleep. No, I never found out what happened to Onyx, unfortunately. Poor little kitty. Super Phenom. What's cooking? How's it going? I don't know. Brad is a simp. He needs you to straighten him out. Yeah, I just have the one cat. I don't even know if I could bench 3 plates, to be honest. My dumbbell press isn't bad, but something with bench is just my one shoulder droops down. My one arm is like longer. One hip is short, hiked up more than the other. I think it's completely thrown my pressing movements off. Yes, an all black kitten can be the spirit of Onyx, and you have it, Andy. Yeah, the one porn star, I don't remember her name, though. She was a figure competitor. Uh, she was surprisingly down to earth. And the other one was old. It was kind of weird. I never heard of them or knew of them prior to that. But The one, yeah, she was because she was telling me she was going to do a show. She was surprisingly down to earth. She was rock hard her physique, like you could tell she was on gear. She was like, you know. But if I walked across her in the street right now, I wouldn't even know who it was. I don't remember her name or anything. Nope, Misfits aren't the same without Lenny, without Richard. No, I haven't spoken to Nate Fig since 2018 in Vegas. Appreciate it, Dylan. I'm at the staving off death portion of my training career. Thoughts on Dale losing his pro card? I mean, his double wide during the divorce. The porn star at Lou's Barbecue was Goddess Vanessa. But there was another one. That was the older one? I don't know. There was two of them. No, I wouldn't get into the adult film industry. What am I living for? To fulfill the plan God has for me through Jesus Christ in the realm of the kingdom conflict we're living in. We're living in the angelic conflict where angels and demons are spectators into our lives to see if we're going to live for God and fulfill his plan or live for self or live for Satan. So I'm living for God. Vanessa was the old ginger. Yeah, I don't remember the other one's name. The figure competitor. Still heard Lenny laughing in the distance when he got divorced. No, I didn't see Jason Blah now has an OnlyFans. Why would I see that? Why have you seen it? Okay, have a good night. I'm non-denominational, and I don't Anglican. Yes, it's basically similar to Catholic, isn't it? I was raised Catholic, but I made my communion as a little boy. That was as far as I went. And then I got born again and saved in 2008. Yeah, Lenny always had that laugh. My workout split: I do legs on Sunday, cardio Monday. Tuesday I do chest, shoulders, tries. Off Wednesday. Thursday deadlifts, back and buys, neck and traps, and then usually off Friday and Saturday I just do cardio. Try to squeeze in a fourth day, but I've just been doing 3 days. Yeah, I remember I took Lenny for his LASIK surgery and picked him up and took him home. Would I consider going orthodox? No, I don't like their doctrines. I don't agree with what they teach, their eschatology and things like that. What's the rent like for one bedroom where I live? At least $1,000. Yeah, that was a good picture of me with a was it a Gold's Gym or no, it was the Muscle Store tank top at the old Gold's Gym, curling like 180 or something. That was a later thing when Lenny discovered melanotan. He wasn't that dark when I met him. Ever thought of working for the church? Who knows? Maybe God's calling for me as a pastor of a church and start my own somewhere. Nah, well, occasionally I'll switch them up. Just I tried doing whole body frequently, like leg, like a squat with bench and some arm stuff on one day, but I like doing legs, push pull. It's been working so far. So yes, I like it, Andy. In a previous life, I was swinging a sword fighting the Ottoman Empire. When I trained Trick Daddy, is he still alive? I never got to see him. I was stuck in a hallway that night when we bounced down there in Miami. Last time I talked to McCuck was on his podcast, whenever that was, in November. That's right, Matthew. Christ is King. Christina Broccolini, yeah, she's somewhere. Today was 79 degrees and sunny, MD, but we still have the haze from the fires up in the mountains. Yeah, Kyriakos. I've seen some of his videos. Any famous gals come on to me during my bouncer days? No, they stood clear. I was too massive. Porn star Mary Carey thought she could have carte blanche to dance on the tables at Deluxe in Delray, but I told her to get her butt down. I didn't care who she was. I should have said, who and what is porn star Mary Carey? Meow Man, the new Jonestown Meow Town, have to drink Anadrol. I would marry a Japanese girl. Some of them are very attractive. I like it. Seems like it's a very clean country, very no nonsense. They respect the elders. Where are you on the face? Charlie Sheen's Angels. Yeah, I got G'd up. I used to love going to the beach. This is the last story of the night. I went to Fort Lauderdale Beach and I couldn't find a spot. I didn't have any quarters to put in the meters on Las Olas, so I parked over the bridge at like a Publix parking lot off of, I don't know, Commercial Boulevard, somewhere in Fort Lauderdale. Anyway, I was about 285 pounds off season, G'd up, and I walked to the beach. And then on my way back, this big, looked like Goldberg, bald guy. He had his shirt off, goatee, and he had a nice house on Intercoastal, and he invited me in, and I didn't think anything of it. And they gave me a meal and water, and he told me he was like a bodybuilding, fan, whatever. He'd never competed. And then he had Bibles and all these religious Christian books. And I only drink bottled water because I was already coming down off G, and it was like I'm still, in this guy's house. And he's like, "Hey, man, what do you think about making some money, just taking some pictures or whatever?" Because I heard a lot of guys do it, bodybuilders, posing like punk panties on a motorcycle or whatever in cowboy boots. And I was like, "Yeah, maybe." And I gave the guy a fake number, but anyway, he called it some twink in Miami, an older guy, probably a real pervert. And he told me he met the man of his dreams. He goes, he's got a little distended gut. He goes, but this guy is massive. You love him. But I started getting freaked out. I told him I had to go. I had to get out of there. I gave him a fake number and left. Is G hard on the kidneys? It slows your heart rate. I don't know what kind of effect it has on your kidneys, but I've heard it's weird. It can slow your heart rate, but simultaneously increase blood pressure, and it slows your breathing. So obviously mixing it with other things is a no-no. That story, the guy that said I met the man of your dreams was like, uh, had to be 2005. Yeah, a lot of guys. We got the first time we had competed, me and Lenny in 2004. We didn't look great, but at the intermission between the morning and the night show, an older twink approached us and he asked us to come back to his hotel room to take pictures. He was going to pay us. He was small. It's not like he could have done anything, but we didn't go. No, I don't resent Lenny from holding me back from the powerlifter who wanted to train me. Well, he didn't want to train me. The guy didn't know who I was. It was Kieran Kidder in Daytona, but people were telling me to go see him when the sky would be the limit. But not necessarily. Well, I don't resent Lenny, but I regret, like I said earlier, that I didn't pursue the higher bench press. I just wanted to get into bodybuilding. I should have waited on that. What do you do when your heart slows too much? I mean, it could prove to be deadly for some, but I have a naturally low heart rate at night anyway. So, but I mean, if you're breathing and everything slows, like if you mix it with a lot of things, I mean, it could put you in a coma, or people could die from it and could have seizures. Saint Bernardo is the patron saint for cats, and that cats are the gatekeeper to the afterlife. I know Padre Pio believes that, or believed that. I don't need to use a CPAP anymore as long as I stay around 220 or less. My heart rate at night is like 39 beats, 40 beats per minute. No, I don't work at the supermarket anymore. That was just a part-time gig. Shia LaBeouf leaving the tribe to convert to Catholicism. What's the tribe? The tribe of Judah. Will the Misfits get back together for their own celebration of life for Lenny? Who knows? Maybe one day it'd be a nice gesture. I have a Fitbit, the watch, the Versa, I think it's called. It's fair. It's pretty accurate. The Sons of David. All right, maniacs. I got to get out. I got to hit the sack in about an hour. Try for 8 hours of sleep. It's been a fun 2 hours. It went by like the vapors that we are here. What'd you say about this country, boy? How am I looking, maniacs? All right, guys. What do you say? Should I make it a weekly thing every Friday night? This could be the go-to time for the last remnant of the Misfit Maniacs. Peace out. Bye.